Transmission, Peter. No problems whatsoever. Peaking 20/9, excellent. And fine on everything. Well, fortunately, it's very not often that I get any problems with the power here. The occasional little dip now and again in stormy weather, but nothing, well, perhaps I shouldn't say too much, but we haven't been without power for a long time now, so that's great. It's pretty reliable. Although in some places they've had over the Christmas period, in some places in England they had quite a lengthy periods of times without power. And I think a lot of it, the engineers couldn't get access to the power lines up and down because of floods and so on. So it's quite a challenging job doing all that work, and especially out in all that weather, Peter. So, and I did hear, was it yesterday or the day before, about the power problems that in parts of the states there. So due to the weather, so I should imagine it's everybody will be relieved now when it's back on. And to lose power when the weather is so cold as well. Anyway, let's hope things we can get back to normal quickly. Yes, I've been. I couldn't believe it when I could hear the band opening up to right over to the west coast there, and KW7 Yankee was coming in very well here, and then W0KIZ, and it was very good, and Howarth managed to whip KW7 Yankee as well, so a couple of us managed to have a QSO with him, because it's not often we hear the west coast opening up in this part anyway, especially on AM, Peter. Perhaps people who sideband lower down the band, perhaps it's quite a regular occurrence that they get contacts over there. Anyway, it was great fun and very enjoyable. News here, I was telling Dave, I think I went to a small club sale on last Sunday morning. A few of us went along there, and there were a few bits and pieces there for sale. A very small event. It's just one of the local radio clubs, you know, and they had a room at their club there where they laid out a few tables, and people brought some equipment there for sale. And I've always got to come back with something. Anyway, I bought a small 160 meter AM transmitter that somebody had built, and they'd made a very nice job of it, whoever it was, and it was only going for a few pounds anyway, and the valves or the tubes were worth more than the transmitter, I suppose. But anyway, it's very nice, and I'm planning to get that on the air fairly soon anyway. And there were some relays there, so I picked up a few nice relays, so that was good. And of course, meeting a lot of the guys there. Sometimes we only meet up at these little gatherings. So it was quite a pleasant few hours out on Sunday morning, and the weather wasn't too bad either. So I've got another project on the go now, Peter. I've got quite a few on the bench in the other shack. So there's always something to do with this old ham gear, and I've got a few military pieces of kit that I'm restoring as well. So, but I'll be using those on 80 meters or 75 meters. I think it's your band over there. Right. Okay. And oh yes, I was telling. You probably heard me perhaps telling Norm that I've been having a go on 15 meters as well. So I've had a few contacts on 15, but I'm using a wire antenna on there, and it's quite noisy, and it's not very efficient, I'm afraid. So I'm planning to get something like a 2-element monoband or something going on 15. But I do hear quite a number of AM stations coming through on above 2400 there. Okay, Peter, I'll put it back to you, and hopefully propagation is still with us. Alpha SFI Radio Echo, GW8TBG.
Yeah, GW8TBG, AA3RE returning. Yeah, propagation is very much still with us. That was a very good recording, very good transmission to record. You were holding up solid the whole time, maybe one or two little bounces in the meter, but that was it. Got it all. Got it all. Fine business on the swap meet. They're always fun to go to. There's always some bit or piece that you didn't know you need that you'll find you could take home and do something with. And as far as the social aspect, that's always the most fun. I try to get a little local our classic radio group locally. Try to get together once a month for breakfast at the local firehouse. They have a restaurant and they do a good breakfast there for cheap. So once a month, at the end of the month, try to get everybody together there, and we all speak radio and vacuum tubes. So it's kind of a fun little gathering. It hasn't really taken root. There's only a few guys, but a few guys say they're going to come and then forget about it. So it'll take a little time to get rolling, but that's always a fun thing to get a face on the guys locally, and you know, you get to know them a little more personal besides on the air, and always makes for a good time. And then the non-radio people always look at us like we're something strange, but that's also part of the fun of it. We understand something other people do not. Anyway, yeah, propagation has been, I could see, really good as far as sunspot numbers. I haven't actually been on the air until today, you know, with the power out and the storms and cleanup from the storms has been taking up most of my time, and traveling back and forth to work takes a little bit longer. But it's been fine at work. We've been making power, although Wednesday morning was a little bit scary. You know, the generator was moaning and groaning, you know, from hits on the grid, and the frequency was moving around a little bit. So the generator doesn't like that, but it's following the grid. And you know, there's a bunch of blips in the grid, and of course shorts and everything else. So it was a pretty active morning. I was glad when my shift was over and then I got to come home. Then I come home and power was lost here soon after. Kind of ironic. I generate power. The power plant stayed on the whole time, but I come home and no power. So anyway, wood stove kept the house warm, and you know, cleanup. I still have cleanup to do out there. There's ice all over the place, and you can't do much with that. Although I can start working on all these big limbs that have come down and cut them all up with the chainsaw. So I do have my work cut out for me, and gonna go get started here pretty soon. But it is nice to catch you here on the air and get to exercise the vacuum tubes and warm things up here a little bit this morning. Very nice catching up with you here this morning, Mervyn, and hopefully we can do it soon and propagation keeps up. Yeah, I'll start looking on 15 meters when things start falling off more, and maybe I should look there near our sunset and see what's going on to the west and try 15 meters. I always think about it, but don't get there very often. And yeah, I don't have a whole lot of time lately to play radio, so I take advantage of it when I can here on my Saturday morning. And I do have work to do around the house, but I'm slow in getting myself started, Mervyn. It's still -4 centigrade outside, about 26 degrees Fahrenheit or so, and ice covered everywhere. The dogs are having fun. The dogs actually love it. They've been enjoying the snow and ice. It's something different, and they've been playing in it. I guess Harley, he probably wouldn't like it too much. Your cat Harley there probably likes it right there where the picture is, warm on top of the vacuum transmitter. I'll turn it back to you, Mervyn, see how things are going. GW8TBG, AA3RE.
AA3RE, GW8TBG returning. Yeah, fine, Peter. Another cracking transmission. Little QS leak up creeping in now. Perhaps the band is changing. And okay on Harry, the cat. Yes, he's in the shack here with me at the moment, and he's sitting next to me. Not on the receiver at the moment. Warming, but he does spend a fair bit of time in here when the equipment is on, Peter. And I was going to ask you how the dogs are coping with this cold weather. I should imagine they're but they don't mind being out for a few minutes, and then the cold, they want to get back in. So all the comforts of home. Your kind of work, Peter, yes, I can imagine there's been quite a big demand on the power industry there, and even although it hasn't been cold over here, my daughter's partner, I think I told you, he works in the power generating line, and he's been called in quite often at different hours, extra hours to man the station there to keep the power going. So there's been quite a big demand as well. Anyway, great that you guys are there to do it, and they've told you keep the lights on for your fellow Americans, Peter. When you get home, you haven't got any yourself. So there we go. Anyway, the old wood burning stoves, yes, I don't have one here, but my daughter and her partner have installed one into their home, and it's excellent. Works very, very well. And I can imagine, yes, being working full time and wanting to get quite a lot of jobs done around the home there. So time is very limited. And if you're like me, once you get in the shack, Peter, you don't want to get out of there. So and especially with the weather the way it is with you over there, so cold. Anyway, it's great fun on the radio, and as you say, meeting up at some of the events, it's great fun. I enjoy the radio rallies, we call them over here, but you call them hamfests over there. And I'm looking forward to some of the events we go to in the summertime. A group of us always meet up, from different parts of the UK. And although we chat over the air, it's nice to meet face to face. And sometimes to put a face to the call sign, so it's great fun. But I'm trying not to bring bits and pieces back with me, Peter, because my home now is filling up with radio bits and pieces, and my shack outside, so I try not to buy anything, but it's very, very tempting I must admit that I tempted on many occasions, and I do come back with some bits and pieces. Anyway, it's all good fun, and as long as we enjoy it. And I suppose people in the classic car and motorcycle side of things, I think they probably feel the same way about their hobby. Right then, Peter. Okay, I'll let you carry on. You probably want to get away and do a few things. Great catching up with you again. Many, many thanks for calling. Always a pleasure to speak to you, Peter, and to catch up on things that are happening over there with you. So back to you then, Peter. Alpha 3 Radio Echo, GW8TBG. Go ahead.
GW8TBG, AA3RE returning. Yeah, I got it all, Mervyn. Not as strong as when we first started out, but still holding up pretty decent nonetheless. But yeah, I want to get the day moving here, and I did want to get on the air and catch up with you. I figured you might have wanted an update from me. Prior to all this storm, propagation didn't seem to be there. I was on the air, and I worked Franco in Italy there a few times, but didn't hear anybody else, in the hour window that I had to get on the air several days in the last couple of weeks, kind of thing in my morning. Franco, and I did run into Jaakko in Finland, and Belgian station in the Netherlands, a couple of contacts here and there, but surprised I hadn't run into you or anyone else in the UK actually. And then the storm hit, a couple of storms, the power out and everything. So here we are. Glad I caught you and give you an update on where things sit. Still have ice on the antenna, but it doesn't seem to be affecting things at all there. I just can't really turn it. And even if I could turn it, I wouldn't be able to turn very far. Tree limbs are sagging all over, and my elements would get hung up on the sagging tree limbs. Once that stuff melts off and springs back to normal, I'll be able to spin the antenna around. So might be interesting working the West Coast, not being able to turn the antenna. I do have a vertical. I could go to my vertical. Speaking of other antennas, my 160 meter doublet took a hit. That got taken down by the ice. That was a very nice antenna, 265 foot doublet at 80 feet. and that's now on the ground, but the antenna itself is intact, just the supports let go. So I'll be able to get that back up in the springtime. And I had been getting on 160 here a couple of times a week with a couple of fellows locally, and now it's going to be hard for me to do that without getting that antenna in the air in some fashion. All right there, Mervyn, now we're all caught up for the time being. Hopefully it won't be too long before we can catch up again, and knowing you'll be on 15 meters, maybe we'll find you there at some point also. Yeah, I'm going to clear out of here, get the day started, get some work done around the house, some of these limbs cleaned up. Not looking forward to it because it's not exactly warm out, but the sun is shining. It's bright and sunny, so I'll bundle up and I'll be okay as long as I'm on the move. I'll let you finish it up there, Terry. I did record this, and when I get time later on today or tonight, I'll put it up on YouTube. GW8TBG, all the best, my friend, and finish it up. AA3RE.
Yes, okay, Peter. All copies, Peter. Seriously, Peter. Audio on your transmitter is punching through, so no bother at all. Okay. All the best then, Peter. Great to catch up with you, and I look forward to the next time. I'll let you get away now and see to your duties there, and I'm looking forward to the next time. And just one comment on your antenna there. Well, I wouldn't mind being able to have a top band area like that. I don't have the space, but excellent. Anyway, hope you can get that back up in the air pretty soon, Peter. So take care. Take care in the snow and on the ice, and all the best to family, Peter. Alpha 3 Radio Echo GW8TBG clear. 73, Peter.
Thanks, Mervyn. All the best, and 73 AA3RE.